Championship League 2019 has been fast and furious. The semi-finals began at 6 o'clock. Here we are at 7 o'clock, just about to begin the final. In it, Martin Gould from England up against his fellow countryman Jack Lisowski. Gould trying to win the Championship League for the second time. Jack Lisowski trying to lift the trophy for the first time. And for both, it's not just the incentive of the title and being a tournament winner again, but also there's that place in the Champion of Champions, which runs from the 4th to the 10th of November at the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, live on ITV. Here we go then. A tough match to predict because both players come into the final full of confidence after convincing semi-final wins over former world champions. And the two matches were remarkably similar. Neil Robertson didn't score a point in the first two frames against Jack Lisowski. Lost the third on the pink. John Higgins didn't score a point in the first two frames against Martin Gould. Lost the third on the black. Now we've seen that shot from Gould time and time again in this group, where he plays to pot the red, applies check side to avoid going into the bunch, and normally he plays the shot very well, but on that occasion the red refused to drop. But it doesn't cost Gould anything. In fact, he comes back to the table immediately with a really good opportunity. It was remiss of me not to tell you that the referee for the final is Rob Spencer, who actually officiated his first ranking final only last month at the Welsh Open. neat start so far. These two played in the round-robin phase on table 2 first thing this morning, and it was an overwhelming victory for Martin Gould. He actually won the match 3-0, making breaks of 131 in 93. He would love a repeat.
Thanks, Martin. 39. Forty-seven.
Always difficult to break the reds up when you go into them. Cue ball off the top cushion first. He's actually achieved a really good split. The obvious red he's being denied because the pink's in the way. And actually, considering the split, he's not been very fortunate there at all. A couple of possible reds, but neither of them easy. Certainly not this one to a semi-blind pocket. Oh, lovely job. And the cue ball is bounced sufficiently as well. From here, he will be looking to win the frame in a single visit, as he did with a break of 105 in the opening frame against John Higgins in the semi-finals. You know, where the balls are, he might possibly qualify himself for a £1,000 bonus for the highest break of the group.
61.
They could not sit much better than this. As for securing the frame, he needs the pink and one more red. Just the start you crave to any match, let alone a final.
83. 84. 91. 92.
The high break in the group, 136 from Judd Trump.
99.
That's under threat. Under serious threat.
One hundred and seven. 108.
Just up and down the table.
130.
Gould needs to clear the colours for a 140 total clearance. He actually hurt himself there as he leant over the table. Cramp. Oh dear me. I'll tell you what, Martin, I sympathise with you there. I think that's something that's befallen us all when we've played snooker at one time or another. Oh dear me. Well, it was painful to have the cramp and he's limping back to his chair. It was painful to miss out on £1,000 as well. Let's hope that muscle loosens up in time for the start of the second frame. That was very inopportune. Nevertheless, Judd Trump's break of 136 still stands as the highest of the group, but much more importantly for Martin Gould, he's made an absolutely terrific start to the final with a break of 115. He wins it very decisively, that opening frame, and he leads by 1 frame to 0. You might be wondering about their head-to-head, these two. Well, discounting the Championship League, which we always do on the head-to-heads, Lisowski is 3-2 in front. The highest profile meeting they've had came this season, actually, in the last 16 of the International Championship. Lisowski won 6-5, making back-to-back centuries in the closing 2 frames. Although he's won a couple of tour qualifiers, Lisowski, he's looking to win his first pro title this evening. As for Martin Gould, he's looking to win his 6th, and of course his second Championship League title after winning the overall thing in 2013. Well, I think those problems with cramp are gone. Don't know about the leg, but the arm was working perfectly fine to knock that kind of ball in. What a beauty. though,
That's a good one.
wasn't a beauty. Far from it. Well, that's just the lift that Lisowski needed. But it could be a setback for Gould. He was looking at his tip. Don't know whether he miscued there. If he's done any damage to the tip,
6.
that could be significant.
7. Thirty.
Well, he was playing a very big shot there. And when he went into the bunch, he might have expected to leave a lot on. I don't think he's left anything on. Is there room for Gould to possibly just stand in behind the black? Don't think there was. The Gould hand held in the air, acknowledging that was not an intended plant, it was a fluke. And it could be a profitable one as well, given where they are.
Four.
Four pots for 7 points. As Lisowski looks on, 2 reds, a green and a yellow. And another low value colour to come here. But if he plays this well and gets into the high scoring territory of the table, doesn't matter that he's only going up in small increments at the moment. It's all about table occupation. lovely kiss. He applied an awful lot of side, in fairness to him, so that widened the angle to allow him to attack the reds on the left-hand side of the table to pop them into the top right-hand corner. But that kiss at the end was very beneficial. How about that? Nothing fortunate in regard to that shot. Up and down the table, into the bunch. A lovely split. Playing well, Gould, he really is. And now you would think he's got to bite the bullet. This is the shot that will probably determine whether he goes on at this visit to lead 2-0. And it was always at the far jaw, always overcut. Lisowski will be mightily relieved. And now it's up to the younger man to make his presence felt. Could not really have dropped any worse than that, unless he's knocked a plant onto the middle pocket, which I don't believe he has. That shot backfired. Now, if he's left this red, that really was loose. When you run out of position, there's nothing you can do about it, apart from just take a step back, say, OK, I've made the mistake, or I've been unlucky. Now I've got to play a good safety. And that's something that Lisowski doesn't do. Doesn't quite think hard enough in those kind of situations. Well, it was all happening there, wasn't it? We thought he might have fluked the red. We thought the brown might be in. Lisowski looking at this plant. It looks good from here, doesn't it? Looks good. Now that's a couple of times in this frame he's asked for balls to be cleaned. Just giving him an extra few seconds to weigh up this plant. There is distance between the two reds. But if he takes this on, which I'm sure he will, you could never describe this shot as being overly outlandish. Centre cut. And in addition, a really nice angle on the blue. Maybe he could take the white into the two reds and the pink that are clustered together. Still not happy with the cue ball. the way those two reds are set around the pink. One will pot into the top right-hand pocket, and that will free the other to pot into the top left. So there was no need in the end to go into them. One of those players, Lisowski, with easy cue power.
22.
26 in front, so the black in one more red and he will equalise. Gould had a really good chance early on. Mr. Simple Black. And now, for all intents and purposes, it's going to be honours even. I didn't fancy calling a winner before the start of this contest, and nothing has changed.
38.
The only difference now, the final has been distilled from best of 5 to best of 3.
56.
Jack Lisowski exhibiting his silky potting and break building skills. A clearance of 63, and with that he draws level. Jack Lisowski 1, Martin Gould 1. Now, we've talked about the money on offer for winning this group. It's £10,000, the bonus for winning the winners group. The runner-up receives a £5,000 bonus. In addition to the £10,000, you will have won in the semi-final and final 6 frames, so that's another £1,800. And in the league phase, well, both of these two won £2,400, and so they will collect at the end of this evening, the champion, over £14,000 for this group alone, and that doesn't take into account, of course, for the group they won earlier in the tournament. So it's going to be a little over £20,000 for the eventual winner, and of course that lucrative place in the Champion of Champions in Coventry in early November. There you're on a £12,500 guarantee, and if you make it all the way and end up lifting the trophy, you receive £150,000, so an awful lot at stake. Pride, trophy, title, and big cash.
Third frame. Martin Gould.
Frame 3. The red was near. I think the white was nearer. Just thinking about my calculations, you know, for what the players will receive in total. I was right with Martin Gould because he came into the tournament in Group 6 and won it. But of course, before Jack Lisowski won Group 2, he also got to the final of Group 1. So his total haul, should he go on to be the Championship League kingpin, would be nearer £25,000. That is a blunder. At the very least, get the cue ball back somewhere around the baulk line. At the least, he's only got the cue ball back just past the blue. Ooh. One that got away though for Martin Gould. He missed the black, didn't he, across the top cushion in the second frame. That after missing a black off its spot earlier. That one goes astray too. He's feeling the pressure. That was beautifully cued by Lisowski. What a talent he's got. What a talent. He's very annoying actually because we all know on the snooker circuit just how good he is. But something always seems to just trip him up in the latter stages of events. And he's not given himself the platform yet to fulfill wonderful potential, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Apart from being very talented, he's a really nice lad as well, and you wish him all the best. Well, he's gone too far for the pink, surely, so it's going to be the recovery blue. Mindful of awkwardly placed reds, doesn't want to touch them with his shirt or his waistcoat. ice skate involved here, of course, because it's the Championship League, but that would normally be the case. At least he wasn't put off. Floated the blue in nicely, but still not out of the woods yet. It really is of great assistance when you can get hold of the cue ball like that.
Nice.
Seemingly effortlessly. That, though, was loose. Large margin of error to be on the correct side of the blue, and he's not there.
Lisowski 25.
And that was the knock-on effect, leaving that tricky red from his loose positional shot on the blue. One thing leads to another. You can never drop that guard of concentration. Gould not on the right side of the blue either, although in fairness to him, it was much more difficult to get there. Harder to judge when a red is close to a pocket like that. Surprisingly, it's one of the most difficult shots to judge positionally you can have.
Six. Seven.
That's a really nice kiss on the yellow, not only to leave it, but to afford Gould an angle to come back down to the table to get into this business end. Well, good news, bad news there. He avoided the green. He does have a red, but where's the next colour coming from? And of course, by putting pink and black together, that doesn't do him any favours. Well, what a good pot that was. What a good pot. Now, does he deem it good value to take on the brown? I'm sure with the angle he's got, he'll be thinking that way. The failsafe, of course, is getting the snooker in behind the brown, but with this angle, he's going to attack.
$14. 20.
Hard-working break this of 20 from Gould. Always hard work when the two highest value colours on the table are tied up.
21.
Did well, but this isn't the fastest of tables, and it was always going to be highly unlikely he could get enough juice into the cue ball to get all the way round to where he wanted to be. Does have a shot to nothing on this red, though, with the rest.
Martingale 26.
Here's another shot to nothing, this time for Lisowski. Doesn't get much closer than this. 1-1. 1 point in it in the third frame in a race to 3. Lucky, lucky, and lucky some more. Played the thin clip off that red closest to the top cushion on the left-hand side of the table as we're looking at it. Missed it completely. Hit another red. Left nothing on. A really awkward set of reds here. Five clustered together close to a top cushion. A lone red on a side cushion. Can't envisage a swift conclusion to this frame. Well, what a cracking pot that was. He's knocked in so many like that during this group. Super. Now then, a good pot on the pink here. maybe some displacement to the Reds. Well, he deserves to be on something. Is he, though?
7.
Took a look, quickly realised there's nothing there. Well, another pot that was asking a lot. The only red he could leave was the one he went for, and although he has left a pot on it, down that side cushion, especially needing the rest, this is not easy. It wasn't easy, but Martin Gould played it very nicely indeed. Assertively, just punched it in to get the cue ball off the cushion for the green. One of those frames, this, where the balls are conspiring against both of them. And you would think it would be the kind of frame that might well suit the more experienced, the more savvy player, i.e. the older player. Martin Gould, we'll see. We will see. Lisowski just needs to retain a level of patience. Well, how about that plant being knocked on? Now, had the angle been okay here for position on the next red, I'm sure Gould would have contemplated seriously taking on the green, but clearly the angle wasn't there, and so it's just the old trickle in behind the green for what could be a profitable snooker. I think that Gould would have liked to have taken this left-hand cushion away, though, and he hasn't done so. A little tighter into the green would have been much better for Gould.
Foul, miss. Martin Gould.
Well, 4 bonus points. And to no one's surprise, the cue ball replaced.
A little bit further back. That way. Yeah, that's good. Foul, miss. Martin Gould.
Well, this time, it was all about pace. There wasn't enough.
Yeah.
one thing that Lisowski doesn't want to do here is to go around the back of the red and leave one on. Well, has he left the bottom red to the top right-hand corner pocket? And if he has, is it worth Gould taking it on? Well, the answer to the second question most certainly is no, because he's running for cover again. And he certainly got partial cover thanks to the pink. Good response, though, from Jack Lisowski. This good response. Gould snookered on all three reds. The table's turned. Contact made. You might have heard the click. Caught thin air there. No contact made. And so this little collection of penalty points turning out to be quite useful for Martin Gould, who's now taken an 11-point lead. Well, you can see the red on. He's missed it again. This time, though, he's left a free ball. And what's more, not just an easy opening brown, but the angle on the brown to maybe do something with it. Now, he missed a similar ball to this in the previous frame. A black it was. Caught the far jaw. Now, will he overcompensate? In it struggles. Well, he applied bundles of side to that cue ball to try and get down on the red. He's actually overrun it. So again, it's clip away, up into bulk. Now, though, Gould has a substantial 29-point lead. for the player in front. The black being on the side cushion is very much in his favour. Gould, though, would love to see at least one more colour go awkward. Well, the brown has gone more awkward. He's been responsible for some hard ball safety in this frame as Martin Gould, and there was another. Is it worth a go? If he pots the red and a pink in addition, Lisowski will need a snooker.
One.
30 in front now, Gould, so if he pots the blue, which is definitely easier than the pink, that would be 35 in front, 35 on. Now, two options here.
6.
He could try and pot the red down the rail, or conversely, stun the cue ball in behind the black. Did neither. Did neither. But the black being on the side cushion is now very much in Gould's favour. Overwhelmingly so. Gould let out a sigh there of exasperation because there was quite a big target to get the cue ball behind. Black and blue there. Lisowski, though, did not want that red to bounce. Again, Gould missing the opportunity to tuck his opponent up. this time it's Lisowski who says, okay, if you don't use black and blue, I will. And the significance of this is that if Gould doesn't make contact, Lisowski can win with a colour other than the black. Well, the red's on, but the cue ball is so close to the side cushion. I think that Gould will settle for that. Especially given that Lisowski, if he pots the red, has to pot the black immediately afterwards. When is a fluke not a fluke? When it's unlucky. Had that red stayed on the lip of the pocket, it would have been a completely different scenario. Don't think there's a gap there, is there, between blue and black to get through for Gould. Had this red stopped, it would have been so much better for Lisowski. Well, he's taking on the pink. Changed his mind. Nominated the blue. If he pots the blue, though, he'll need a snooker. Oh, cracker. Absolute cracker. Under the gun. Brilliant. Now, one snooker on the colours is manageable. Commentators always say in this position that a player needs a snooker. What they need is a successful snooker, of course. And laying one of those at this level takes some doing. The guys have tremendous abilities when it comes to escapology. This is useful. Bridging very awkwardly over the pink. Full ball snooker behind the blue. Suddenly Gould feeling the heat. Oh, just made contact. Just flicked the yellow. Well, I'll tell you what, Lisowski's trying valiantly to set the trap he needs. The intention there was to try and get in behind the brown. Oh, this could be the cardinal sin. This, oof, I thought for a moment he'd gone in off. When your opponent needs a snooker, the one thing you don't do is to take the white anywhere near a pocket. And that was within a fraction of an inch of going into the pocket for 4 points away. Gould can't quite nail down the frame. But he could do so here because the blue flies past, or so shall I say the yellow flies past the blue. If he puts the yellow, Lisowski will need a couple of snookers. And still it proves elusive. That miss and the one previous could come back to haunt him. This time, though, the yellow is spotted. No position attached, and I'm sure that Lisowski, needing a couple of snookers, will continue on. But it does afford Gould a little more breathing space. Oh, and the green, even more so. Well, Jack Lisowski has conceded in his chair, and so what was a very scrappy frame ends with a very unusual shot. Martin Gould is back in front. He won the first frame with a break of 115. Jack Lisowski equalised with a run of 63, but then a lengthy third in which the balls ran awkwardly. It was disjointed staccato snooker, but that won't concern Martin Gould in the slightest. Martin Gould 2, Jack Lisowski 1. So Gould is one frame away from capturing this title, or should I say recapturing it, because he won the Championship League in 2013. Jack Lisowski 1 down, 2 to play, with it all to do. We've been talking about this place in the Champion of Champions for the eventual winner. Well, I can tell you who's already qualified. Ronnie O'Sullivan, Judd Trump, multiple qualifications for those two. Mark Allen, Neil Robertson, Kyron Wilson. Now, Tepchira Nu as the shootout winner and Matt Selt as the Indian Open champion. They've also got a really good chance of being in Coventry in November. Thinking back to when Martin Gould won the Championship League in 2013, it was down at Crondon Park Golf Club in Essex. And he was taken all the way by Ali Carter, a real stalwart in this tournament over the years. But Gould beat Carter 3-2, making a century break in the decider. If Gould does win tonight and convert this lead into victory, he will become the third player to have won the Championship League on more than one occasion. Judd Trump is a three-time winner in 2009, 14 and 16. And of course, Gould's victim in the semi-finals this evening, John Higgins, captured the Championship League title back-to-back in 2017 and again 12 months ago. Are we going all the way? Well, if that's going to be the case, Jack Lisowski has to win frame 4. Here we go. Super pot. His play from distance, his accuracy from distance over the course of the last 2 days has been really good at times.
Six.
Now he just potted that what we call thin. Had he potted the red into the middle of the pocket, he would have held the cue ball comfortably. As it was though, because he caught it just a little too thin, even though he potted it, the cue ball ran on too much. As that safety did, allowing Gould a sight of the left-hand side of the pack to return to balk. These two are the two lowest ranked players involved in the winners group this year. Jack Lisowski, currently the world number 15, Martin Gould, the world number 27. And yet, here they are, contesting the final. Their opposition consisted of 4 world champions and of course Judd Trump, a Masters and UK champion. As such, they've already done really well to be here, but who can go the extra mile?
Foul. Miss. Lisowski. Martin. Yeah. Yeah, because I looked at the brown. The brown was more or less onto that knuckle. That's what I was looking at when I looked. Yeah, Jack.
Agreement reached. Gould doesn't like that again. I think he's done exactly the same thing.
Foul. Miss. Lisowski.
Nothing left on but annoyance for Gould. 8 cheap points given away.
Martin. Yeah, Jack.
Changing his tack. Anyone who knows these match tables knows how tight the middle pockets are. From that acute angle, that was a tremendous spot.
I'm hoping it's just a television.
Back. Go back. Come back on. Yeah.
Six. Lisowski. 6.
A little more thought was put into that one. Useful reply. Overcut the red. Is it potable to middle? When cue ball and object ball are close together like this, it's a devil's own job to work out the potting angle. Nicely done by Martin Gould. Is this the chance he needs to get over the line? Very early days, of course, and the black is hemmed in. But there's lots of potential here. Red's open, blue and pink available. Well, if he can get through the gap and pot the red on the left-hand side of the table, he's been very fortunate there, because he overdone that. He played for the red to the top right-hand pocket. That's a positional fluke, if you like. That's the kind of beneficial luck that makes such a gigantic difference. Gargantuan it is. Especially when you're just one frame away from lifting a trophy. This is the third time that Martin Gould has been in the final of the winners group of the Championship League. One win, one defeat. Can he make it 2 victories out of 3? Well, he's got a red to a distant balk pocket.
25.
I think that's about it. No other choice if he wants to continue the break. He stroked in a high percentage of these over the last couple of days. Oh, but that one stays on the table. He really got a hold of that, Lisowski. But not that. Not that. Bad miss. Disgusted. Walks away from the table. Wondering, worrying whether Gould will make enough to get over the line here. I still think it's unlikely. A lot of work to be done. But Lisowski is sitting there knowing that ball should have been potted. Now then, one shot and the whole complexion of the frame has been changed very much in favour of Martin Gould. Black's in the open, blue is available, a couple of open reds as well, maybe even 3 open reds. Is Gould in for the kill?
6.
You know, back in late January when they played Group 6 at the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, Martin Gould came into the tournament and made a 135 break in his very first frame against Xiao Guodong. He feels comfortable in this Championship League. He is one of this tournament's most successful players over the years. Is he going to strike gold again? A good split here, and it could be the beginning of the end for Jack Lisowski. The break goes to 23. Gould's lead goes to 26. Add the blue on, that's 31. He will not need the awkward red on the side cushion if he keeps potting them. The ones in the open, that is. Did I detect the cue action being a little more jerky, a little more snatchy there than normal? Maybe. Again playing with fire and also knocking another red into a safer position. 32 points Gould leads by. The blue would make that 37. So after this, one more red needed. He's got a couple of insurance balls to try and reduce the pressure a little here. The red on the side cushion, the orchid green. But he would love to see the back of this one. He really would. Is there going to be a twist? Frame, match and tournament ball missed. where the red is, that's easier to access for a right-hander than a lefty.
Six.
Well conceived shot, there's no doubt about that. Just slightly overstruck though. Lisowski was banking on the wall of balls down the spine of the table, the yellow, brown and blue to provide cover. Asking a lot to pot that red. And again, Gould has frame, match and tournament ball. And again, he's not equal to the task. 31 behind Jack Lisowski. That means he needs minimum brown off the last red. At the moment, Martin Gould is thankful for the awkwardly placed green. But of course, when a ball is in a position like that, there's always the potential for a double. I don't know whether he's travelled quite far enough for that to be viable. No, he hasn't. That wasn't the best of safeties either. Gould needs one colour, Lisowski needs the lot. Oh, well done. Well done indeed. At the third time of asking, Gould pots most probably the decisive ball. Twice he'd missed the last red, but not the green. And with the addition of the brown, that is that. Jack Lisowski shakes hands. What a performance from Martin Gould. He's had a terrible season. He's 71st in the one-year rankings. He's dropping down the list, and yet when it comes to the challenge,